From the land across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honourable
you human trafficking.
Honourable they are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
every day our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what's the blood.
I have fought very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
We just vote for government, but we not get good governance.
At all.
Roads so no day. Light usa. The infrastructure we can't talk to be forbidden fruit for the city.
Corruption, well everything. Hello?
Hello, madam. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Mrs. Ayeni. I am calling from the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs.
Okay. Okay, I've been expecting your call.
Madam, remove this your phone from loudspeaker.
Now my phone be like that. Hello?
Are you there?
I'm hearing you.
Yes. We saw a copy of your invoice for computers, printers, and laptops.
Yes. Are you working on them now?
Ma, the prices you quoted are way too high now.
Madam, sorry, oh. Please don't cost.
We found the laptop you said is 1.8 million naira for 600,000 naira.
Hello?
Now my body network there.
I can't hear you. Network is bad.
Madam, we can hear you. Continue.
Hello, I can't hear you. We call you back.
That behavior not good now.
Madam, now this kind behavior they kill our country. You suppose do things differently, make Nigeria for better.
This message is brought to you by the Akin Fadayi Foundation, the MacArthur Foundation,
and with broadcast support from Atlantic Television Network.
I don't get a lot. Boy, they won't booga me small. They say, man, give them bribe. I say, nothing. Okay, now. We'll go block later. You remember that contract where we do that time now? They don't pay.
Telling him not to counterpunch.
It is yet another exciting edition of Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network. On this edition of the program, Team Nigeria suffers double blow in Paris. And coming in from tennis, Novak Djokovic is set to clash with his old-time rival Navarro. Meanwhile, in football, world champions grab late win against Super Falcons of Nigeria. Details of this and many more will be yours when we return from the break.
Telling him not to counterpunch.
Welcome back. Sports Talk. Mike is here.
Yeah, good morning, sir. Good morning to our viewers out there. Always a delightful moment doing this.
Well, the biggest sports news around the world right now has to do with the Olympic Games. But just before we get to the Olympic Games, we can inform you that the Bayelsa State Ministry of Sports Development has said that preparation for the next National Sports Festival has commenced, as the state is aimed at getting at the very first position at the sports festival. Today to the fourth sports festival, which is the country's version of the Olympics, if you like to say, will be early next year in Ogun State. Bayelsa State already getting ready.
Yeah, I think for me it's about a state that is very serious, very keen about the sport development out there in their state out there. Of course, you see, if you take a look at their progress so far, there's no doubt that indeed what they intend to achieve in 2024 will become a reality. Because what are they intending to achieve in 2024 sport festival is to finish, first among the rest of the state out there. Can they achieve this? Of course, yes. Have they been trying to, put structures in place that will enable them to achieve first position in the next National Sport Festival? Of course, yes. Why? In 2020, they came third. They finished third in the National Sport Festival. 2022, they finished second in the National Sport Festival. You can see the level of their progression as well. So 2024, if their aim is to finish first, then you have no doubt, because looking at what they've been able to achieve in the last two editions, you want to say yes, there is an element of the positive that they're building, and indeed they can finish in first position. And that is what you have when you have square peg in a square hole, when you have somebody that have been able to understand how these things. We were talking about the sport commissioner of Bayelsa State, Daniel Igali, is one man who fully knows his onions, and he's been working around the clock to ensure that at least he makes Bayelsa State, he takes Bayelsa State sport development to the next level. Now we are seeing that being practicalized. So for me, I believe other states, they are also taking a cue from what Bayelsa State is doing in the area of sports. And
its preparation by Bayelsa State towards the next National Sports Festival coming up in Ogun State. And like I said, the former sports commissioner in Bayelsa State, now governor, and of course Daniel Igali, one man who has shown his sagacity when it comes to administering sports in Bayelsa State. We'll bring you some more stories coming in. And this time around is Nigerian Super Sound Eagles battled valiantly, I must say, and lost at the death as Mauritania to edge out Nigeria on their way go rule and qualify for this year's Beach Soccer African Cup of Nations. That was a sad one. Too late to be ousted.
Yeah, very late. Despite the fact they gave a good account of themselves, right from the first day down to the last moment. I think they did themselves proud, but then their performance wasn't good enough. But then there was a little bit of controversy as well as regarding that game. Why? Because at the nick of time, the dubious in quote penalty was awarded to the waiting, which actually enabled them to draw. I actually ended 10-10 overall, but then the way goals actually ensure that we do not go for that very well. For me, I think we need to also take some positive from their display. You want to play brilliantly and in an individual format, I think it's not going to help the team. But then collective pattern of idea and synergy helps a team to go far or possibly win any medal in any championship. But that is not to take away the fact that at least he did pretty well, talking about Hassan out there, and that is why I say we need to at least take some positive out of our outing so far going forward.
Talking about going forward, let's see what's happening at the Olympic Games. It is day 3 today at the Olympic Games, and Team Nigeria was one of the teams that took part at the opening ceremony. And of course, that opening ceremony generated a lot of controversy around the world. Mike, that opening ceremony has been adjudged to be one of the best in terms of color and, of course, light and history. But I'm sure the controversy about the Christian faith being maligned will not be leaving any moment soon.
Yeah, I think it was more like glamour, more like glitz and glamour at the ceremony. A lot of beauty, some positive cultural display out there, impeccable organization, you want to say, but then still have some religious connotation that wanted to mar the opening ceremony. But for me, this is sport. We shouldn't also try to bring religious dissection into sport activity, because sport, if you actually listen to the statement of Thomas Burridge, the IOC president, I think he was very emphatic. The aim and objective of this year's Paralympic game is to unite. Let us unite in common front, and bring peace and tranquility in a world that has been split by, chaos and catharsis out there. So for me, I think, if that is the aim of this year's Olympic game, to be able to unite at all fronts, to bring peace and succor to those who are suffering, then we shouldn't try to use religious, inclination to divide us. Hence, the purpose is to unite in this year's edition. So for me, I do not want us to dwell on the, religious, connotation of what they are trying to project out there. The main aim is to bring peace and unity among the rest of the country, so that at least there will be peace in the world.
Peace and unity should be the main message at the Olympic Games, which is the biggest sporting event in the world. Sports Minister is urging Nigerians to stand behind the 88 athletes and that are out there in Paris to represent the country in 12 sports disciplines. It's not been Uhuru yet. Do I say it's been a double blow for the Team Nigeria at the last 2 days of the Olympic Games?
Yeah, not even 2 blow at this. 3 blue assistant right now. Why? Because Haruna Quadri, about 2-hour tennis that also got knocked out in the competition. Then again, we have one boxer as well, who also have been hosted out of the competition. Then you talk about the Super Falcons losing our 2 first game. I think we are in the brink of elimination, talking about the Super Falcons. So it's more like a triple blue for us and not double blue, and it's not a good one to start. I mean, not a good way to start this year's Olympic for us. But then I think there's still light at the end of the tunnel.
There's light at the end of the tunnel for Team Nigeria. Meanwhile, we've had to suffer, early defeat. Talking about it, Super Falcons, they've lost 2 games now, and it's looking a bit difficult. But they have a chance coming from the back door, or at least coming through the best third place teams.
Yeah, but that glimpse of hope is very dim as it stands right now.
They've not lost by a large margin. It's been just a slim 1-goal difference. Yeah. That looks good.
Yeah, a loss is a loss, whether it is a half goal. Losing 2 of your first game is not a good one. Now, our destiny is no longer in our hands. We've now ceded our fate to other countries, talking about Japan, who, brilliantly defeated Brazil, that actually defeated us in the first game, 2-1. Now, we'll be relying on the Rarojas, talking about the Spanish women team, to also do us a favor by beating Brazil. How will that be possible? I don't know. It is a game of football, anything can happen. But then, after Brazil lost to Japan, I think you won't expect them to lose again against Spanish women national team. So for me, it is more like we've been a very tight corner. Like I said earlier, our destiny is no longer in our hand to decide. We now put our faith and destiny in the hands of other teams out there, which for me I think is not a good one, because you can't be resting on other result out there to get through. It's been a very not a very good outing for us, because I had hoped that we should be able to maintain that goalless draw till the final whistle. But then we did a lot, but we couldn't keep our cool, as we considered a very late goal. If we had taken a point in that very game, then we'll be basking in the euphoria of that going forward in our last game, which is against it's either Japan. And I think for me it's a very difficult situation that we find ourselves.
Very difficult situation Nigeria finds herself at the ongoing Olympics in the football event, but there is light at the end of the tunnel if we get favorable results. Like you mentioned, there is not in our hands. But one match we saw yesterday that slipped completely from the hands of the Africans, as it was Zambians, was the encounter between them and Australia. Wow, what a game. 11 goals all in course of the 90 minutes plus added time. Zambia 5 and Australia 6. Australia getting that last minute goal in added time.
That is what a team that is made up of players that truly understand what it means to be at the biggest sporting event, which is the Paralympic Games. In fact, the second half of the game, they were trailing by 3 goals to nothing. It was about 5 goals to 2 second half of the game. So at some point, so many persons, they literally saw their fans. Even at some point, some of the fans started leaving the stadium because to them it was all done and dusted, dead and buried. But then, they were able to find the spirit of Lazarus from the dead, as they came back very strong into the game and made a very strong statement. Finally they were able to nail, the coffin of the Zimbabweans at the dying minute of the game. So
Zambians.
Zambians rather. I think for me, lack of concentration actually cost the Zambians in that area, because you can't be leading 3 goals up and you allow your opponent to equalize and also, take a win at the dying minute of the game. I think for me, lack of concentration actually cost them in that area. It's a very disappointing one for Africa.
One lady that was on showcase was Banda. She scored another hat-trick again. This is making her 3rd hat-trick in Olympic football.
Banda experience player any day, anytime. Take a look at the second goal. What a beauty to behold. I think for me, experience counts a lot in some of this game out there. You can't take anything away from Banda. She has been very, very good so far. Even for her club side, she's very, very good. Rated among the best in her club side. Second top scorer in the just concluded season. I think for me, very impressive display from Australia.
Well, talking about the Zambian girl doing her best, entering into the history book again. At the last Olympics, she was in the history book for scoring a hat-trick in 2 games. Now she's made a 3rd hat-trick in Olympic history. That looks like a willow decision for any lady that wants to come and score such number of hat-tricks in 3 games at the Olympic Games. We've never seen that before. Let's hope that we can get it. Canada seems to have gotten it over France.
Yeah, for the host country, I think I thought maybe because of the home crowd, they should have also banked on the home crowd, because we have at least a sizable number of spectators turn out to the stadium to cheer them to victory. I thought they would have built on that opportunity or confidence of playing, from their own home ground, but it wasn't to be, as Canada had a different ball game altogether. They shocked the host nation, and that is football for you.
Talking about Canada having a lifeline now.
Definitely, that is what it means. Losing your first game, coming back very strong in your second game. I think they have that lifeline. And I think for them, take a look at their pattern of play and the tactics of the coach. You want to say yes, they can go through in this very group.
And a 6-point bound deduction, and of course their coach and the 2 other officials sent home. Do you think the girls are playing for their coach that has been sent home, and maybe see how they can defend the gold medal which they won last Olympics?
It's a very tough situation that they find themselves, but I stand right now. I believe the girls understand the situation right
6-point deduction from they've not gotten the point. Okay, 3 points now gone.
Yeah, 3-point gone. And as it stands right now, it's a very difficult one for them. But then let's keep our fingers crossed, hoping that they are going to, pass through this water challenges and see if they could be able to pull through in this very one.
Well, we understand Canada will take on Colombia. That will be the next 48 hours, and let's see what happens in that fixture. Of course, they can at least advance as one of the 3rd best placed teams if they continue to turn out results playing for their country. Their coach sent home for that drone event, if you remember. The assistant sent home, the analyst, team analyst as well, sent home, and the head coach has been banned for 1 year.
Yeah.
That looks a very difficult one. It's not only the female team that has been affected by these decisions, their male team as well. How could you use drone to spy on your opponents?
I mean, for me, it's very, very unfortunate, because you have the old clips of your opponent games. So I think that should have been a better route to go through and take a look at their tactics out and not to fly drone, to go spy into the camp of your opponent. I think for me, that is very unprofessional. And of course, the coach actually admitted to that mistake early when he also considered the responsibility for that. So for me, I think not a good way for you to also take a close look at your opponent. You have the old clips of your opponent. You can go out. Thank God that this is a jet age. Social media has made it very easy for you to access any information anywhere. So they could have sat at the comfort of their own home or go through through the old clips of their opponent and get what they want to now, not to fly a drone direct to the camp of your opponent to spy at them. I think for me, very unprofessional. Now they truly deserve the ban as it stands right now, because if they are allowed to carry on this going forward, other countries as well want to also take advantage of this by flying drones to their opponent camp to just to spy, to take a spy at them, which for me, I think is not good for football at all.
Well, let's continue to review performances of Team Nigeria at the Olympic Games, and expected that tonight, today, Nigeria's D Tigers are expected to face their counterparts from Australia in a cracker of women basketball match at the Paris Olympic Games.
Well, big responsibility, big task ahead for Rena Wakama and the girls out there. But then you take a look at their preparation so far coming into this very one. Want to say, yes, they had a good preparation, but not winning any of those warm-up games. But then if you take a look at their loss margin, some of those warm-up games against some of the big-name teams, you want to say, yes, at least they have what it takes to go far, because we lost, but then it was maybe 10-point disparity, 7-point disparity against a very strong side like Serbia and the rest of the countries that we played through in the warm-up game. But then I think today is the D, and I believe that Rana Wakama has been able to learn lessons from the loss in some of those warm-up games and be able to re-strategize, you know, in coming into today's game. But one thing very good for us is that we have some of our best and very fit for this one, the likes of you know, Ami Okonkwo, Uchenna Carlo, they are all very fit in this very one. So for me, I think I'm keeping my fingers crossed, hoping that Rena Wakama is going to do the magic in today's game.
Rena Wakama, the coach of the D Tigers and our girls, will definitely be stepping out against one of the superpowers in female basketball, Australia. And can they get their first win in 20 years of representing Africa in basketball at the Olympic Games?
I think it's another big task, big hurdle for us. But in a game of sport, there's nothing that is impossible. It's about matter of determination. I think we can do it. Records are meant to be broken. Records are set are meant to be broken as well. Over 20 years, we hadn't won any single game at the Olympic. But then I think Rena Wakama also to understand this history and knows this history. The players also, you know, might have been told about some of this history, and that also will change their mentality, because they want to also rewrite the history for themselves, and it will be a great thing for them, being the first team, being the first set of players to win a first game in an Olympic. History for Nigeria, and the girls also be part of that history, you know. So for me, I believe they understand this, and they will be willing to also, you know, rewrite the wrongs of the last 20 years.
We're talking about Nigeria's performance at the Olympic Games so far. Today is day 3, and we've seen table tennis as one of our areas where top players have had to exit the tournament. Haruna Quadri, Edem Effiong, and of course Olajide Omotoyo losses at the weekend. Both of them sent packing out of the competition. Meanwhile, we still have Haruna Quadri Omotoyo managed to at least get one set in it. This is not enough. It looks to me like the table tennis squad has fallen short.
Definitely have fallen short in all ramifications. I think for me, quite disappointing, especially when we were banking our hope on Haruna Quadri, who is one of the most experienced, in fact, the most experienced player in that squad out there. You know, I had also had my hope and confidence that Haruna Quadri possibly is going to at least make a difference, but though he did his best, but his best wasn't good enough. I think for me it's quite disappointing one for Nigerian tennis contingent.
Very disappointing outing in the tennis, but there's still some hope, a glimmer of hope, because Fatima Bello will later today be in action against France Jian Yang in what promises to be, let's say, last card for Team Nigeria in tennis at the Olympic Games.
For me, I think it's just going to be for formality. I don't see Fatima Bello pulling any strings in that very one. Just say it that it is all gone for us in the table tennis event, because I don't see her having watched the clips of that you know, French player out there. I do not see Fatima Bello pulling the chestnut out of fire against the French opponent out there. So for me, it's just as good as saying that you know, we are out in the tennis event.
Talking about Nigeria being outside from the tennis event, let's see, Fatima Bello could just help us out there. But talking competition is not only in tennis. We know that Nigerian boxer Lighton Olare was defeated in the men's 92 kg heavyweight boxing category at the games ongoing in Paris. He lost to Kazakhstan's Arabi Ayebek, who secured a 5-0 win on points.
Disappointing. When you need to take a clips of that game, you look as though Lyra wasn't even, did not even train for this one, because at least he had a very poor outing, against the Kazakhstan. Not even a single point at all. He was merely punching the air for nothing. He had any shot on target, any punch on target rather. So I think it's not a good outing for us. I would have said, okay, let's take some positive out of his display yesterday. But going back to watch the game again, at some point I had to even switch off my data not to watch again, because it was like more than embarrassing. 5-0 dropping without even recording a single point. I think for me, very disappointing outing in the boxing event for us.
Disappointed outing in boxing. It could be even more disappointing is the fact that a Nigerian boxer has been disqualified from the Olympic Games for doping violations. Yeah,
another disappointing outing where one of our boxers also got injured and was out of the competition. We should have been able to make it 3 boxers out there, but then, and now, courtesy of that doping issue violation, we are not even going to go further. So for me, totally, I just think that the boxing contingent is not bringing anything to the table as it stands right now. We just have only 1 boxer left.
It's on that very disturbing note that we would like to take a break. What we'll return for a break, we look at some other aspects of the Olympic Games and football, where there has been some interesting transfers at the weekend. When we return for a break, we'll serve you with the details.
Telling him not to counterpunch. Telling him not to counterpunch.
Corruption not in my country.
Driver, why you just say jack us up and down like this now?
I hope nobody carry belle.
Why you ask, oh?
Because this road where they see, so it no guarantee safe delivery. We just dey vote for government, but we not get good governance.
At all.
Road so no dey. Light outside. The infrastructure uncle, he can't turn to be forbidden fruit for the city.
Corruption, spoil everything. Hello?
Hello, madam. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Mrs. Ayeni. I am calling from the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs.
Okay. Okay, I've been expecting your call.
Madam, remove this your phone from loudspeaker.
No vex. Now my phone be like that. Hello?
Are you there?
I hear, I'm hearing you.
Yes. your invoice for computers, printers, and laptops.
Yes. Are you working on them now?
Ma, the prices you quoted are way too high now.
Madam, sorry, please don't cost.
We found the laptop you said is 1.8 million naira for 600,000 naira.
Hello?
Now my body network there.
I can't hear you. Network is bad.
Madam, we can hear you. Continue.
Hello, I can't hear you. We call you back.
That behavior not good now.
Madam, now this kind behavior they kill our country. You suppose do things differently, make Nigeria for better.
Corruption not in my country.
This message is brought to you by the Akin Fadehi Foundation, the MacArthur Foundation,
and with broadcast support from Atlantic Television Network.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Telling him not to counterpunch.
Welcome back. It's Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network, and we'll bring you up to speed with the latest happening around the world of sport, especially the biggest sporting event ongoing, which is the Olympic Games in Paris. We've seen Nigeria in a startling start. We've had boxers disqualified. We've had the boxers lose, and of course, the Super Falcons, the female football team of Nigeria, have suffered 2 losses as well already at the games, and it's looking very, bad early start for Nigeria. But we hope we can get better. We are into 12 sports discipline, and so the best is yet to come for Nigeria, if you want me to say, because there's still track, there's still some events where Nigeria is very strong. If you remember, Tubi Amoso is still out there waiting to compete in the hurdles event, and the sprint races are still there for Nigeria to make an impact. So it is not yet gloomy and very doomed for Nigeria. So if you are praying for Team Nigeria or you're a supporter of Team Nigeria, there is still hope out there. But let's bring you some more coming from the Olympic Games ongoing in Paris. An Nigerian judoka has been disqualified after failing in the weigh-in before an 0 opponent at the Olympic Games. This is part of it. You have to weigh correctly to be allowed to box at the Olympic Games.
Sure, I think this is one thing that Africa must take very serious, because this, misfortune always befall Africa oftentimes. We don't take everything serious. We thought maybe it's a joke, but then when you get to, European countries, they don't take the issue of weighing the doping very lightly. You need to weigh properly so that you can be able to take part in that very one. If it was to be a competition here in Africa, maybe they wouldn't have been able to take such painstaking step to see that such person or an athlete has overweight. Is either by 1 kilopound or 3 kilopound, but it doesn't matter. It is 73 kg, but your weight speaks in a different direction, and that automatically qualifies him, which for me, I think it will serve as a lesson to others out there to also keep themselves in shape and be able. Sometimes you may weigh 70, The next way you discover that if you do not control your eating habit and the kind of things that you take in, maybe in the next 2 days you are going to weigh 75. So you need to constantly keep yourself in check as a sportsman, especially in this kind of competition, so that you not get overweight, knowing fully well that the result of you overweighing beyond the average is going to be tantamount to disqualification, and that is what actually has happened to him.
Algeria judoka already disqualified for not getting the appropriate weight ahead of his opponent from Israel. Meanwhile, let's look at a quick look at the medal table so far for the African countries. Nigeria is not yet on the medal table, but we have Tunisia, on the medal table. Egypt is on the medal table as well. Not forgetting South Africa that is on the medal table. Egypt, Algeria, and South Africa.
Very clear that these are the countries that from the hills of African continent that you definitely expect them to register their name on the medal table very early, because they've been able to develop their sport to the extent that they no longer depend on the relatively known sports here in Africa. They've diversified their sport arena, and that is how you get to rack up medals in such major competitions of Egypt, Algeria, South Africa, doing pretty well. You take a look at their sporting infrastructure and facilities and their deliberate step towards developing sport. You will say, yes, it is not surprising that they've also registered their name in the medals table in African continents, which for me, very impressive. But then we are waiting for Nigeria to also register their name in the medals log for African continents.
Well, Africa definitely have to continue to improve on our medal table. They are outside of the first 15 right now on the medal table, but it's early days. We'll still have a couple of days to go at the Olympic Games and events coming to the finals, where medals will be awarded. The big names are, what do they look like on the medal table? The United States of America, China, and maybe the Great Britain.
Yeah, the Great Britain and China, they have not made much impact, neither US as well, but you say it is any early call as it stands right now. That is why we've not seen some of these big names, also, registering medals in their different category. But the likes of China as well, USA, Canada, even the host countries as well, they are not doing pretty bad because they've registered at least some medals in the log as it stands.
Well, talking about medal table as it concerns the rest of the world, right now, Japan, Australia, United States of America are trying to at least get improved on the medal table. That, of course, keep changing by the day and by the hour as we speak. Let's generally look at it now. There has been concern of security at the kickoff of the Olympic Games, but it looks like all of that has fizzled out now. Everything seems to become out there in Paris, events taking place at different centers.
Yeah, I think you want to also thank the organizers. They've done a human's job so far. I think the security threats and fears that earlier been challenged, they were able to hold on to their own plan as well, and some of those negative thoughts and plans of those terrorists, I think it has been brought to nothing because of the massive preparation coming in from the local organizing committee. And of course, you know that about 40 different countries actually sending some security aid as well to the French authority to also enable them beef up massive security so as to ensure a hitch-free tournament. And of course, you say yes, it's been very successful so far. There's no security breach. I think the only challenges that we've encountered so far is the rain that took place on the opening ceremony. It was a heavy downpour. Then again, you talk about the arson in one of their railway lines. And these are some of the little challenges, but then in the area of security, I think they are equal to the task, and you must give it to them so far.
Organizers doing so well, but so far, like we mentioned to you, because we have to leave out the Olympic stories now, it is Australia and Japan leading with 4 gold medals each. United States of America right now has 3, but this will keep improving by the hour. Away from my Olympic story now, and Mike, at the weekend, one of the biggest sporting events that took place was the Formula 1, and what a race. Lewis Hamilton back now as a winner of the race in the year 2024. He didn't win last year. This is his first win. I talk about winning the race at the event. He had to wait for 2.5 hours for him to know that he has won. He actually was second on the podium at the let's say formalities for after the race, but it looks like his teammate Russell, who actually was first and as the winner of the race, will have to look for another day, because after 2.5 hours it was found out that the vehicle driven by Russell was underweight by 1.5 kg.
Yeah, quite disappointing for his teammate out there. But then all glory to the Mercedes out there. It doesn't matter whether it was George Russell or Lewis Hamilton that won. What matters is that Mercedes has been able to win this very one. And of course, we saw last edition where they also had their team authority overcoming when the last race took place. So this time around, for Lewis Hamilton, I think he's a brilliant one. Don't forget what he said earlier in the season, that he's going to give his 100%, for this Mercedes side before leaving in 2025, and I think that is what he's doing right now. On win so far for this season. Of the statement that he made earlier, that he want to give his all to ensure that when he's leaving on a high note, and this is professionalism of the highest order. Despite having signed a deal with a different company out there, but then he's still giving out his best to ensure that at least when he leaves, his legacy remains with Mercedes. So for me, give it up to Lewis Hamilton, because he has waited for long, about 2 good years before making a podium finish and winning a race. This time around, making it twice so far this season going, and we still have about 9 or 10 races to go. Still very much anxious that at least before the end of this season, Mercedes, possibly Lewis Hamilton or George Russell, will definitely win another race. So for me, very good one for the Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton.
Team Mercedes, what will they be thinking at this point in time? They made mistakes, and it cost them 1-2 on the podium out there, because it could have been Mercedes 1, Mercedes 2.
Yeah, I think a very big mistake, a great blunder. They actually goofed in this very one, but then you need to also blame their team. I believe by now they should be looking at on where the mistake came in and be able to correct it in the next race out there, so that they don't repeat the same mistake as well.
Well, Mercedes will have to at least take 1, and they now know that they've lost 2, and they have been 1-2 at the podium there in the Belgian Grand Prix, but that's not what it is. But it's a lot of people are happy for Lewis Hamilton, at least before leaving Mercedes completely. He's able to win yet another race for them out there. Meanwhile, we'll now begin to look at some football stories. Mike, players are still moving around the world. Any latest movement?
Yeah, I think Arsenal have completed their long pursuit of the Bologna defender, talking about Calafiori. He's back again for Victor Osimhen, because that deal was probably halted at some point last week when Paris Saint-Germain said that they are not comfortable with the demand offer of Napoli, asking about £100 million. Then players also included in that, very one as well. Not, good one. But then I think they began the talks again this time around. Chelsea, we understand as well, have gotten the services of a young, goalkeeper as well. And other transfer news that we still await to be completed this morning before at least we break it.
Well, talking about players' movement, so far this time around, of course, this is transfer period. A lot of players are moving. Olympics seems to be taking the shine off a market, but then we know Real Madrid is still basking in euphoria of having their man from PSG.
Yes, definitely. But then before they could say, Jack, last week as well, they also their new, signing, the Brazilian. They're talking about the young man Hendrik. He was unveiled actually, by Real Madrid last week again. We had about 43,000 fans turning out at the Bernabeu to also welcome Hendrik, who also was in tears as he said, according to him, that his dream, has been fulfilled. It is his long-time dream to don on the white and white jersey of the Los Blancos. We also saw his father and family also shedding tears. So for me, Madrid, and they are still basking on the euphoria of, getting the signature of Kylian Mbappe, which you mentioned earlier. So I think Madrid are ready to go this season, in the coming season, and any team that they meet is going to be a very devastating one, because Madrid has right now, they have been able to house the best young talent as it stands. So Madrid, watch them out come next season, both in the La Liga, both in the Champions League. I think they're formidable force as it stands right now with the acquisition of Kylian Mbappe and Endrick.
Well, for football fans, it's pre-season across Europe. The clubs are meeting. The biggest football pre-season fixture we had at the weekend was the encounter between Manchester United and Arsenal in the United States of America. It ended 2-1 in favor of Arsenal. But it's not about the result now. It's about double injury blow for Manchester United.
Very disappointing one for the young man after making Manchester United debut in the season. Also in his second game, getting an injury blow before even the season gets started, I think is not a good one, not a good sign, because this is one area that Manchester United actually struggled last season, talking about their defense line. I think for Euro and Rasmus Højlund, not a good one for them, though the game ended in 2-1 in favor of Arsenal. But then I think the most concern for Manchester United is the injury. Then still talking about club friendlies as well, we saw Chelsea as well being defeated, being dismantled by Celtic. 4-1 it ended, and so many are asking so many questions right now. Go over social media, it is trending. More like saying, Maresca, are you sure that you are going to get this job done? But then I think it is just pre-season friendlies. We are waiting for the official kickoff of the league.
Well, that will be it for this edition of Sports Talk. Until we return at 6 p.m. Nigerian time for yet another exciting edition of Sports Extraordinary. Remember, peace and unity are clearly pathways to progress. Always enjoy here on Atlantic Television Network.